let me ask you a serious question real quick. Why is it that every time South Africa trends online, it's either chaos or complete amazement? Because lately, Americans have been posting videos on social media saying things about South Africa that honestly caught a lot of people off guard, and not the usual stuff you see on TV. I'm talking about raw, unfiltered reactions from people who actually went there, lived there, moved around, spoke to locals, used Ubers, went to malls, clubs, safaris, beaches, and came back saying, wait a minute, we've been lied to. So today, we're not mocking anyone, we're not hyping anything unreal. We're breaking down what Americans themselves said about South Africa, what shocked them, what they loved, what confused them, and what it says about how the world views Africa. And trust me, by the end of this, some things are going to click in a very uncomfortable way. But before we break it down, let's listen to what the people had to say.
I've been to a lot of countries in Africa, but South Africa was something special. Let's talk about it. Now, my original reason for going to Africa, the continent, the motherland, as some people call it, was for a few different reasons, right? And I had three mainly that come to mind. The first thing was about socializing. You know, being a Black American, being raised inside of, America, it's a mixed bag. You have some people that are accepting of you, given your race that you were born with, and you have some people that are not. I wanted to experience a lifestyle around people that wouldn't judge me based off of my skin, just maybe to be judged based off of the content of my character, right? So I said Africa would be the perfect place. A lot of people look just like me. Secondly, I'd have to say it's because of affordability. Now, when it comes to America, man, golly, boy, it is expensive. Now, this doesn't mean that you're broke. If you would like to travel.
Everything's a lie. We already know this, but like being out here and actually being able to truly conceptualize it, it gave me a headache. We were looking at houses and I'm just like, wow. As Americans, I definitely understand how other people from other countries are like. They're like, I'm not gonna say Americans are lazy, but it's like we don't realize how much opportunity there is because we see how much our money doesn't stretch over here in America. But when we go to other countries, living like kings, it's crazy because every time you're out in public and you open your mouth and you find out you're American, you see everybody's eyes just light up. When I say it's crazy, it's like you walk around with a halo and everybody's like, oh, you're from America, because they think they're all rich. Because $1 is 17 of theirs. But they don't realize that I ripped these 17 times too. Anyway, it definitely makes you put things into perspective and realize how much money that we truly waste. And it's not even just about the money. It's just about the way people live. Like, people live like they're supposed to live here. Everything closes early, which I got used to after like 30 minutes. Everything closes like 8 because they actually value going home and spending time with their family and enjoying their lives. And a lot of people, they get out right at 4 o'clock. And when I say when they are done, they are done. And they plan the food. They put the stores near the people. And so each community has their own plaza. And they're like nice plazas. They're not like no Ross and TJ Maxx. They are nice. They're like mini malls. And not even like Tanger outlets or the international outlets. They're like mini malls, like with tile floors in all the communities. So they want to make sure that everybody has access to food, everybody has access to laundromats, school supplies. And like at the malls have like things like kind of Bed Bath and Beyond, like and then you can walk around with shopping carts and you can get your nails done and pick up your dry cleaning and then go to the grocery store. The grocery stores are in the mall. The gym is in the mall. Everything just is so central and it allows for more community because it's like nothing is, I don't want to say individualized. You know how here, like at home, the stores are like all like brick and mortar and by themselves. Everything is clustered. Also, everybody has helpers. And they don't know much about America. So when we just like be like, oh, y'all have like maids that like come, most houses have maids' quarters. It's a room and a bathroom where the maid can stay because they're there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And we're like, are you that lazy or that? No, it's normal. And they pride themselves, and it's actually like, it's not.
Not ready when she comes?
I don't want to go.
Okay.
It's not looked down upon. Like, and they take their job. They're hard workers, and they like the work because it's good money. And so you get, everybody has a maid, everybody has a gardener. They say they help. Everybody has help They have a gardener, they have childcare, they have chefs, and it's not expensive. Like, we live in life wrong. As an American visiting South Africa, I say this with all due respect to Africa and all disrespect to America. Everything here is so clean. All the bathrooms have been so clean. I am here literally at an African safari. The bathrooms here are cleaner than the airport bathrooms, cleaner than the Disney World bathrooms, cleaner than a lot of restaurant bathrooms. It's crazy. And it's not just here, it's everywhere.
Oh, you have to come. Hands down. There is no, I've been to over 50 countries around the world, and this is the best. It is, like people say, it's one country with many countries in one. Mm-hmm. You can be in a safari, you can be in a city, you can be at the mall, you can be at the beach. It is an incredible city. You can be in the desert, you can be in the mountains. I mean, it is an incredible nation. It's a growing nation, and it's a black nation. And that matters.
It matters.
It matters.
It matters. So we think about the people.
I always the people.
Yeah, I always say the people is the thing.
Oh, the people are the heartbeat of this country. They're so incredibly kind, so gracious. A couple just let us in their home and showed us around. Yeah, I love the people.
There has been a lot of culture shocks in South Africa, but overall I will say it's been well. So my first culture shock when I arrived in South Africa was how the grocery stores are in malls. So my Americans that are watching, like if you wanted to go to Macy's, you'll probably end up in like CVS, Publix, Kroger. Like the shopping centers are also grocery stores. So if I wanted to go grocery shopping, I'm basically going to the mall. Another culture shock for me is the patience with the Ubers. Anytime you get an Uber, like, I mean, they definitely do be canceling and stuff like that, but they'll wait on you. Like, they will literally wait. Like, that's all I can say. In the States, there is no waiting. If you're, like, not outside, like, so yeah, patience for me was a big culture shock here. And followed by that, I would definitely say just the friendliness. Everybody here is very friendly, even mainly when it comes to like labor services. Like in the States, everybody's kind of entitled to, like they can act any type of way, even if you're paying them. People just speak, everybody's just so nice. That's been my experience for the most part with being from the States. Like in Ubers, like it's normal for people to not speak. Everybody sits in the back. We don't sit in the front of an Uber. So here, everybody's just super friendly. Like when you even get in an Uber, like people actually make conversation. With that type of culture here, it's definitely shaped me to be more outspoken and nice to people that are doing services. That sounds so bad, but like I remember my first experience coming here and me going out to the lounges, the clubs. Mainly the clubs is where I'd see this, and everybody like had balloons. I went to the club, seeing that everybody was like standing on couches, sections, and everybody had balloons. I'm like, oh my God. Seeing that for the first time and people passing me balloons, I'm like, what are we celebrating? I'll take the champagne. But nah, y'all, they actually just use balloons and like smoke helium out of it and get high. But you know, that's probably obvious to a lot of people, but for me, that was like a culture shock because we don't do that. Like in the States, you partying, coming from Atlanta, nobody's sitting there with balloons and smoking, getting high. Like we don't be doing all of that. There's a lot of Nigerian men here, and that was a culture shock for me. Like that was for sure a culture shock because not that I wasn't expecting any Nigerians to be here. And like, you are in Africa, like what do you expect? The Nigerian men just fled here, okay? The dating scene is obviously a culture shock because, you know, I think that's something deeper than my understanding on how people here just view dating. and that's definitely another topic. It's a time, a place, and an episode, a podcast episode. Like, I really just want to start a whole podcast dedicated to. But yeah, I have some more questions.
What is your favorite thing about South Africa?
I think it's a very vibrant place. Like, there's a lot of different cultures. Walking 2 kilometers from here, you can speak 10, 15 different languages. You have the 11 official languages, and you have all the other people up in Africa that bring their flavor to it as well. So.
And do you think as a society we're coming together or being more drawn apart from a political point of view?
It's a good question. I've been here for about 15 years. I saw something a few years back that I would not have seen when I first came in 2004, and I think it was a yoga class or something, and it was people of all cultures and all races doing this class together in table view. And you wouldn't have seen that 15 years ago. So I think, culturally, I think that the country is growing together. Politically, it could go either way. So I'm hoping that the politicians don't mess it up, don't stop that gelling together as a society that is happening.
Very funny you asked that, and let me tell you, the same people that was telling me be safe, because that's what black people think. A lot of black people think that, which a lot of parts of Africa as the continent is underdeveloped, and even a lot of places here are undesirable because of the living conditions, right? And that's what they show us on TV. It's the motherfucking propaganda. No different than y'all see Black Americans being fucked up on TV. They show y'all fucking ghetto. I'm from a ghetto, right? But that's all the fuck they show y'all. Y'all don't see what come from the ghetto and shit. But to my point, because of the propaganda and even me, when I came here fucking last year for the first time, this is back when I had white friends, all my white friends was like, have so much fun. Oh my God, you're going to have so much fun. All my black friends and family, and I do mean all, be safe. I mean, with real concern. With real fucking concern. So that's the ignorance on both sides. And that's why I'm glad we got platforms like this where we can get a realistic, perceptions, and not even just perceptions, fucking views. You can see the shit. What the fuck is going on with your own eyes?
I'm not quite sure why there are penguins in South Africa, but we are going to go and find out.
We're getting close to the penguins. Right now we are walking on our way there. I'm actually learning on this tour that these penguins that we're about to go and see are actually endangered, and they're expected to disappear in 2029. Look at these little babies. Look at them. Oh my God. This is like anything.
If you ever visit these penguins, just remember you're potentially seeing one of the last surviving colonies. So these are African penguins, the only penguin species native to Africa. They live along the South African and Namibian coast because the water here is not only just cold, but very nutrient-rich water with tons of fish. Basically, this side of the ocean is supposed to be a buffet for penguins. But I learned that with overfishing, wiping out most of their sardines and anchovies, you've got oil spills, warming of the ocean, and seagulls targeting penguin eggs. These penguins are essentially fighting for their life. All of this is making it pretty difficult for the penguins to survive in these conditions. There is roughly less than 10,000 breeding pairs, and experts can confirm that if nothing changes, they could be functionally extinct by 2029. These penguins matter because they are an indicator species. If they are dying, it means the whole marine ecosystem is in trouble.
Here's a few things I noticed about South Africa that's different from America. One, you guys don't pump your gas. You have someone else that does it for you. In America, you do it yourself, which is interesting. The second thing is stopping here is like a recommendation. The amount of people that have almost hit me like, oh my gosh. Which I get it though, because maybe at night you just don't want to chance anything. So no, I totally get that part. The third thing is driving a stick shift is almost a requirement here. Like in America, nobody my generation knows how to drive a stick shift. Everyone drives automatic in America. And so when I came here, seeing everyone driving a stick shift blew my mind. I was like, I know how to use it because my dad has an old truck, but nobody my generation in the US knows how to drive a stick shift. Props to you guys, because that's a useful skill, and that's really good to know. Nobody talks about this, but Cape Town, South Africa has this vibe and feeling to it that no other city in the world can emulate. It's this like really dope vibe where you just feel like free. It's a very active city, so you're around a bunch of people who work out, and it inspires me. You're also surrounded by the most beautiful nature in the world. Like, where can you be in a big city that has this kind of nature right to your footstep? You can walk 10 minutes to your left up a mountain and then 10 minutes to the right to the beach. The only city in the world I can think of that would give Cape Town a run for its money is Honolulu, Hawaii. But I don't know, it's tough. You learn something new every day. I guess the mountain range of Cape Town is called the Great Escarpment. Apparently the land here is older than when dinosaurs were on Earth. Like, to be here when the dinosaurs were extinct is one thing, but to be here before they were even here is wild. I'm talking hundreds of millions of years ago is how old this land is. I guess when South America, Antarctica, and Asia was together and then it split, like, this land here stayed in the same spot. Virtually almost the same as when it is.
Are you SA homesick? Yeah, I feel homesick from South Africa. And then I had I feel like, not to be dramatic, but I feel like I lost my spark. Also, it's like, I felt like I was on a high. Let me just explain real quick, because this is like something you guys need to understand. And then Americans too, listen the fuck up. Listen up. So there is like a frequency over there that is just higher. It's the people, it's the culture, it's the vibe. And I had culture shock coming back to the States. And like literally I went to a coffee shop as soon as I got back, and this is just like an example, right? And like the girl who worked there, like, she didn't look up at me, even though I was like I was the only one in line. She didn't like acknowledge me. She looked like just like she couldn't give a shit. And then I was like, hi, can I order? And she was like, sure, what can I get you? But she didn't give a shit. I don't even think she said that. She was just like, like, she didn't do, like, we're in South Africa, for example, you go, like, people are just, for the most part, like, grateful to be alive. I don't know. And so, like, and also there's like pride with work, or like the work that you do is another thing. I think that's also goes for like other countries, like other, like outside of America. So I don't know what it is with the work ethic or the pride, or if people are just eating too much processed food here. That's the other thing, is I'm like, the food here, I'm like, I gained weight since I got here, but I was eating. You guys saw what I ate anything and everything in South Africa. And I was like, I was still looking good. And now, like, I have to, whatever. Whoa, I've been going to I did go to the gym and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, I can tell my body is like, you know what I mean? Anyways, so not to make a whole ass rant. Yes, I am homesick. Yes, I planning to come back. And yeah.
The question I get asked most about building a home in South Africa is, do we have relatives in South Africa? My husband and I are not South African. We're both multi-generational African American, which means that our great-grandparents' 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 great-grandparents were born in the Americas and came to America via the transatlantic slave trade. But we have been visiting South Africa consistently for over a decade, over 10 years. And we've gone to many cities. We stayed many weeks. We have fallen in love. We made some really meaningful connections. And some people that we know have migrated here from the United States and have decided to retire here. And that is really how we got started on our, building a home in South Africa journey.
Buckle up and listen to her.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you about my first time in Africa years ago. The moment I got to the hotel, I looked at the security guard there and noticed he didn't have a gun. And I was very uncomfortable with that because he was wearing a pair of sandals and no gun. They took me to my room. My door only had one lock. So I told the people at the hotel, I need a safe to hide my money in. This is not a safe place. So they brought me a little bitty safe that you could just carry around. And I said, all right, they must be trying to set me up. I know they're trying to set me up. So I stayed up that night and I went to sleep, got up that morning, and they woke, they called me for breakfast. I said, all right. So they're trying to lure me out of the room. So while I'm eating breakfast, they can come in and rob me, take all my money. So I put all my money in my pocket and left about 1,000 CDs on the table. And when I got back, the money was still there. In fact, the room was clean. Okay. Now, my point is this. I was never going to give them a chance. I was never going to give them, in my mind, a chance to prove that they were not going to do anything. Every turn, they were going to try something underhanded and low down. You see, that is how Black Americans are programmed to think. And it happens to us in our own country. Other groups think that way about us, whether we do something or not. And at that point, I had called my cousin and I said, hey, man, we got to change. We are wrong. When we come here with the wrong mindset. We should not be this way. Just because we're treated this way in our own country of birth doesn't mean that we have to act and behave the way that the oppressor behaves. So, my point in being is, because of those experiences, I even decided when I got home, I said, I'm not carrying a gun anymore. I'm not going to carry a weapon. I'm going to just give people the benefit of the doubt because I've seen better and I've learned better. All right. Thank you.
Let me know what you think.
And I think South Africans are in rural countries. We particularly hear money. We quickly notice the colors. It helps to have home. Listen, when I tell you, like, how they thought I came from the bush, like, I'm actually going to do a video talking about the questions I've gotten. But just to give you two, they always ask me if I'm related to Trevor or if I knew Trevor's family, Trevor Noah. Now at this point, I'm just like, yeah, because I'm over it. And then I went to the zoo one time. Oh, my light is on. I don't know why that was on. I went to the zoo one time and we were walking around, whatever, and they heard my accent. They like said something on my accent, this lady. And I was like, oh no, I'm from South Africa. And she was like, oh, this must feel like home. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to leave this and let it slide. But I wanted to say, what do you mean this must feel like home? But I just left it. But yeah, I'm going to do a proper video with all of, because I've had interesting questions.
One of the strongest themes that kept coming up was identity. A lot of Black Americans said their main reason for going to Africa, and South Africa specifically, was to experience life without being judged by skin color first. They talked about growing up in the U.S. where race is always present, whether it's obvious or subtle. And they wanted to know what it feels like to exist in a place where being Black is not something you have to explain or defend. For many of them, South Africa felt like relief. Not perfection, not paradise, but relief. Being judged more on who you are than what you look like. And that hit deep, because it shows that travel for many people isn't about luxury, it's about dignity. Then came the affordability shock. This part almost sounded painful for them. Americans openly admitted that living in the U.S. had normalized stress around money. Rent, groceries, healthcare, transport, everything feels like a fight. And when they arrived in South Africa and started converting prices, their brains couldn't handle it. They said things like, wow, this is how far money can actually stretch, and not in a South Africa is cheap way, but in a why is my country so expensive way. One guy even said it made him realize how much money Americans waste without realizing it. And that's not an attack, that's perspective. Another thing that surprised them was how people live. Work-life balance was a big culture shock. Shops closing earlier, people actually going home, spending time with family, being done with work when work is done. For Americans used to the hustle culture, that felt almost illegal. They noticed how communities are designed around people, not cars. Local plazas, mini malls inside neighborhoods, everything central, grocery stores in malls. gyms in malls, laundry, food, nails, dry cleaning, all in one place. It wasn't flashy, it was practical, and they said it created more community, more interaction, more life. Now let's talk about the topic that always causes drama: domestic workers and helpers. Many Americans admitted that before arriving, they thought having maids and gardeners was a sign of laziness or exploitation. And then they got there and realized it's normal, structured, and respected work. People take pride in it. It's employment, it's stability, and it's affordable because the economy is different. Houses are built with staff quarters, helpers work normal hours, and the biggest shock? The workers themselves didn't see it as degrading. That completely challenged how Americans see labor and class, and it made some of them uncomfortable in a good way. Cleanliness was another thing they could not stop talking about. Bathrooms, everywhere. Safari bathrooms cleaner than U.S. airport bathrooms, cleaner than theme parks, cleaner than restaurants, and they kept saying this is not just one place, it's everywhere. That alone shattered a lot of stereotypes that people subconsciously carry about Africa. Then came the geography flex. People said South Africa feels like multiple countries in one. Safari, city life, beaches, deserts, mountains, nightlife, wine farms, malls, all within reachable distance. One American who had been to over 50 countries straight up said South Africa was the best overall experience. Not because it's perfect, but because of variety. And they emphasized something important. It's a Black nation, and that matters. Representation matters. Seeing Black excellence at scale matters. The people. Almost everyone said the same thing. The people are the heartbeat, friendly, curious, kind, willing to help. Strangers letting them into their homes. Uber drivers actually talking to you, waiting for you, being patient. For Americans used to silence in Ubers and rushed interactions, this felt strange at first, then refreshing. Some even said it changed how they treat service workers back home. Of course, there were culture shocks. Grocery stores and malls confused them. Club culture confused them. Balloons confused them. Yes, the balloons. Americans walking into clubs thinking there's a celebration, only to realize people are inhaling helium. Nigerians everywhere also surprised them, which is funny because it says more about how little people understand African migration than anything else. Dating culture confused them. That one they admitted needed its own podcast episode. There were also deeper conversations about race relations, about whether South Africa is coming together or drifting apart. One long-term resident said culturally, things are improving, seeing different races doing things together that wouldn't have happened years ago. Politically, that's another story, and that honesty is important. Nobody said South Africa is perfect. They said it's complex. One of the most powerful moments was when Americans talked about fear. Before traveling, white friends said, have fun. Black friends said, be safe. That alone tells you how propaganda works. Africa is shown as dangerous, underdeveloped, unsafe, and people internalize that. Even Black people. And when they arrived and realized reality didn't match the narrative, it forced them to question everything they had been taught. Then there were the penguins. Yes, penguins. In Africa. Americans were shocked to learn about African penguins. Shocked to learn they're endangered. Shocked to learn they might disappear by 2029 if nothing changes. That moment turned from tourism to education. From wow, this is cool, to wow, this ecosystem is in trouble. And that's what travel should do. Make you care. History also hit them hard. Learning that parts of South Africa's land are hundreds of millions of years old, older than dinosaurs, part of ancient continental shifts. That kind of information reframes Africa from developing to foundational. And finally, the ignorance they face abroad. Being asked if they know Trevor Noah personally, being told this must feel like home at a zoo. Those moments reveal how shallow global understanding of Africa still is. But instead of just being offended, many of them said, this is why they speak online, to correct the picture. So what's the lesson here? These Americans weren't saying South Africa is heaven. They were saying it's human, complex, functional, beautiful, challenging, and nothing like the one-dimensional image sold to the world. This isn't about America versus South Africa, it's about perspective. And the moment people actually see Africa with their own eyes, the story changes. Now I want to hear from you. If you're South African, what Do you think foreigners misunderstand the most? And if you're not, what surprised you the most from these reactions? Because conversations like this matter. They break propaganda and they replace it with reality.